Right, we're back. We're going to be having a couple of experiments today. You might remember seeing this in a few Facebook groups. We kind of got that bird effect. We're going to try and recreate that on this video. And also, Let's Resin have reached out asking if I can play around with the seed deeper a little bit more. You may remember a few videos ago, maybe a couple of months or so, where I showed how you can blend your Pinata white sinker to get a similar result to the Let's Resin seed deeper. What we're going to do with the seed deeper is reverse that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take out some of the alcohol content from the bottles. So in your set you'll get two of the larger bottles and you'll get two 10 milliliter needle tip bottles. Now what we need to do, it's very important when you get your seed deeper that you really shake it well. I'm just going to open, it's a brand new set. I'm just going to put that one aside. And you know, it does say shake before use, but if it's been sitting there, the pigment's going to have kind of stuck to the, so you can see it there, stuck to the side of the bottle. Now you don't have to do this, but I like to, just so I know that I've got, let me get prepared, hold on. Yeah, so just so that I know that, you know, for every time I use my ink, it's thoroughly mixed from every single use. So what I like to do, I might ask the company to do it, but it's, again, it's not a must, but I just pop, I think these are 2 or 3 millimeters ball bearing in the bottle, and the same with the smaller bottles. I just pop one in, just because it helps, it really does help shake up our inks. I'm just going to leave that in there because I'll show you what we need to do. I'm just going to set these aside, put one in each anyway. But we're going to do an experiment with one normal and then one with some alcohol content taken out. So I've got my bottle, I've popped a ball bearing in there, and I'm just going to shake this for a good 5 minutes. Right, so I've shaken my bottle for a good 5 minutes, and you can kind of see as you turn the bottle, you can see the liquid, and you can see if there's anything kind of stuck to the inner side of the bottle. And if you can still see kind of streaks, turn that bottle downwards, get that ball bearing down there, and just shake it to disturb whatever's stuck on the side of the bottle. But I'm good to go with mine. And you do get 2 funnels in the kit, but I like to use the pipette. It doesn't come with the kit, but it's always handy to have. Most of you have probably already got one. So we're just going to measure out 2 lots of 5 mil. Come on. I say these are 10 mil needle tip bottles, but I might be wrong. They look the same size as the normal alcohol ink bottles, but they're not. So that's 10 so far, so I was wrong. Right, so I'm going with 15 mil in each bottle. So it's just below the shoulder of the bottle. Or should I go 20 just to make it easier? Make it easier to kind of halve it. Will it fit? Yes. So it's quite full up actually. So that is 20 milliliters. We're just going to pop on our lid and set that aside, because what we need to do is let these sit so that we're not, so basically what will happen is the pigments will settle. Here's one I did, and you can see it at the bottom, and the top's just the liquid. That's what we want on this. Right, just before I do the next one, I'm going to give it another quick shake, just in case. It shouldn't really have settled that quickly, but we want it to be an equal experiment. Again, massive shout out to my channel members, massive support. That link is in my description below if you do decide to do it. Just help support the channel. And thank you for those that have sent super thanks, the new feature from YouTube, which is in the box below. And those who have bought me a coffee, thank you very much. You'll find your names on the community tab. Again, that's really full up. It's going to make it difficult to get our pipette inside the bottle when we take some out. But I think I've gone slightly over on this one. That'll do. Right, so we're now going to let these sit. May take a few hours. We'll see. Right, I'll see you shortly. Before I go, another thing I like to do is to reinsert this safety cap just to prevent any leaking if you was to lay the bottle down. Right, so my bottles have been sitting for about 24 hours and I can't tilt it. Let me see if I can get the light right. You might be able to see just a faint outline at the bottom of the bottles. That's where it has settled. It's really tricky to see, but you can see at the top it's kind of clear, more clear than the bottom. Bottom's more opaque. I could leave this longer, but it has been a while, so I'm going to extract. I've got another spare bottle here. Let me grab my pen. So this one here we're just going to label as C, because that's the one we're going to use neat, and then this one is the one that we're going to adjust. So I'll call that D deeper. Right, so yeah, we're going to carefully take off our lid. Now when you do this, if you do decide to do this, you don't want to put the pipette all the way through the bottom of the bottle, because then you're going to suck up some of those pigments. So we're just going to carefully from the top count out how much. I have to do the maths afterwards. That's 2 milliliters. Let me grab a pen so I can write this down. So I'm thinking of halving. So I've taken 2 already, so I need to take around 10. But very carefully not to disturb those pigments. Now the reason I'm putting it into another bottle is because if it's too heavy, I can then adjust it with what I've taken out. So this will be 8 mil. I've completely fudged this up. I stupidly was counting these as 5 ml. So I was correct, these bottles are 10 millilitres. I originally put in 12, so I really pushed it and added the extra 2. So if you remember, I added 4 lots of 3 millilitres at the beginning, thinking these were 5. So obviously now I've taken out 8 millilitres and I want 6. So I need to put another 2 millilitres back into the other bottle to make it a 50-50 mix. My apologies, you probably picked up on that before I did. So I'll explain again in a moment, just to make sure it's definitely right. So we now have equal amounts in each bottle. This is the one with more pigment, and this is what we've taken out. So there's 6 millilitres of alcohol taken out, and there's 6 left in there. Oh, I thought I was right, you know, I thought these were 10 ml, but I was counting this on the pipette as a 5 instead of a 3. We learn. So that explains why my previous test didn't work as well, because I was miscounting. So this is now our one that's labelled D. It doesn't matter if I move it now, so you can see it's quite heavily pigmented at the bottom. And like I said, we're going to keep hold of this because if it's too heavy, we can then use this to adjust. So what I'm going to do is label this with an A for adjust. Grab my pen. Right, now we're back on track. So obviously when you're doing it, if you do decide to do it, do 10 ml and then take out 5. So we have both of these, doesn't matter if we move them. Let's move on with our actual resin. So we're going to be using, of course, the collab resin. Thanks to those who have gone out and purchased this already. If you wouldn't mind leaving a review on Amazon, that would be absolutely awesome. And the same with the Sea Deeper as well. You know, we've been using it for quite a long time. If you haven't left that review on Amazon, please go ahead and do it. I have, and we're going to be using the 26 ink alcohol set. So I'm going to get my resin mixed up and we'll get back on track. Right, so my resin is mixed. What we're going to do is spray a mould first. I'll pour that out, and then on the left side we're going to go with the normal mixture, and then on the right side we're going to go with the double strength. Bear with me. Right, so I've got my resin poured out. Like I said, on this side we're going to do the double concentration, or the concentrated, this side the normal. You can see I've only done one heart in this side, because on this one what we're going to do is play around with stirring and not stirring. So anything on the right hand side we're going to stir, anything on the left we're not going to. Now for those that have got these smaller bottles, you can very carefully just manipulate that top off, and you can still then take out some of the alcohol. Obviously these are 10 ml as well, so you'd need to take out say 5 if you want to halve it, but then if it's too heavy you can always add that back in. Right, so we're going to thoroughly shake our white. I'm expecting this to potentially blob because it is so heavily pigmented, but again this is the experiment. We'll just shake that ready, and then we're going to start dropping our inks. I'm not going to go with any kind of particular selection. That was purple. Go with a sapphire blue. An emerald green. So you'll find some of these spread differently. And then we'll go with a yellow, just up by the blue so we get a green. And then in the middle I'm going to go with a forest green. I'm going to do these first before we drop any more inks into the other ones. So I'm going to add just one drop of the white, say per colour. Roughly. Any negative space we can leave it or come back. But we'll move on. Got some yellow that's kind of splashed in there, so we'll keep that there. So we'll go with the red. And then the yellow. And maybe an orange either side. It doesn't look much different. And what you can do as well with the standard mix, you can just go over it with more white, but then obviously the more alcohol you add, the more risk you have of the resin not curing properly. Let's go with yellow green. And we'll go with an emerald green. And we'll go with a sapphire blue. Right, so we just have the two hearts now. We'll go with some red at the tops. And then we'll go with sapphire blue, I think. Just like that. Now you can see we've got negative space down there, so I'm going to go in with a little bit more yellow. Just in the two spaces. And just leave the rest as it is, I think. I love watching the inks dance. It's got a very earthly kind of colour to some of it. I don't know whether to go in with another purple in there. It's not going to hurt just to break it, so it's not kind of left empty. So you'll probably notice some are dancing and some aren't, so some of these are still bubbling away, but then some of them have stopped already. That can all depend on many factors. Right, so now that is the concentrated. So now we have our normal sinker. Now with these ones we're going to stir all of them, because I want to try and get, especially in these oval shapes, I want to try and get that bird for you if I can. It's going to be tricky. I've had it a few times, but it really is hit and miss. So that was purple, red, then blue. And then we're going to go in with some emerald green. I would like to get a yellow in there as well. The trouble is it could muddy, but we're going to risk it. And then with our white, again just one drop per colour. And there you go. Try and stick with similar colours to what I've done in the other mould. Red, yellow, then orange either side. My orange is struggling to come out. I think I had the same issue on another video. I've just not made the hole bigger in the nib. You see we've got some more negative space down there. We'll fill that in shortly. Right, we'll go with our emerald green. And sapphire blue. No, we'll go with the azure blue. Change my mind. I'm allowed. And now for the hearts. Well, the heart. And we go with the red. Again at the top. And for this one, again, the sapphire blue. Let's see what we've got. What can we go in with? I'm thinking an orange. If it wants to come out. Again, just another drop of our sea deeper. Like so. Right, so now we have to wait our 1 hour. I'm going to come back and stir some of these up. Got some negative space in that one as well. I could fill that quickly, I suppose, with a bit more yellow. The true test is the sinker at the end of the day. Doesn't really matter on the colours. Right, see you in an hour. Right, we're back. It's been about an hour, so we're just going to stir these up. Only the right side though. We're not going to touch the ones on the left in this mould, just to see the comparison. I really want to stir them because that's my thing, but we're just going to leave them be. We've got a bit of negative space in that one, but it doesn't really matter. This one will just go round. Right, so that's those ones. We're going to leave the left ones. Now for the bird. Let's do the others first, so they're out of the way. Then I can kind of concentrate on that kind of bird effect. These two we're just going to go round, just in a spiral, just the same on each one. And the same on these two. I'll probably go a bit deeper just to get a ribbon, but just be careful you don't scratch a mould if you do. Just try and draw that down. Let me just go and turn the TV down. I've got the Johnny and Amber depth trial in the background. That's better. The live coverage was on YouTube in the background. Right, so with this, I can't guarantee I'm going to get it, but I've kind of drawn the swirl down on a piece of paper. So I'll lock my focus and just try and get that exactly the same as before. So I want to come up and then bring that yellow through like that, and then I'm going to draw. I think I needed to bring that round more. I think I'm going to bring that through just like that. Hopefully that will then create the beak. I can't guarantee it. It might turn out like a bird upside down when I rotate the piece, but we won't know until it comes to the demold. So this one I'm going to try and bring it round more to create that head. And then we're going to draw that through. And then hopefully, as you can see, we've got the head of the bird, we've got the beak, and this yellow here will become a wing in theory, but we all know when we take these out, it can be very different to the back. But as you can see, that's very similar to the design on this piece. So now we just have to wait for the results. I'll see you in a bit. Right, we're all cured. Let's see what we've got. Hopefully we've got some spores. And this one we didn't stir. I could take out some more of the alcohol, but just play around with the concentration. Luckily we haven't had any kind of really bad blobbing, and this one we stirred. This was without the stir. As always, if you haven't subbed, hit that button for me please. Give the video a thumbs up and drop a comment. Comments are really important to my YouTube videos. It's all to do with the algorithms. Even if you just type a hi. You can see those really nice deep spores there. This one was without the stir. Almost like mushrooms. Hasn't really done much in this one, apart from the outer edges. It's kind of spored up. But again, you can get this with the, if you're using the new formula from Let's Resin, without adjusting your sinker. But this is for those with a medium viscosity. And this is obviously the normal unconcentrated side. So you kind of see the difference. This is what I said a few videos ago. I'd rather play around with my white with the resin not changing its formula, because we can always tweak our sinkers. Really interested to see how these birds have come out. I might do a completely separate video on these. Let me know if you want one. Not sure how this one is. You can see some negative space there. you've kind of got that bird effect. This is the one that I'm hoping, because you've got that kind of golden wing coming up and you've really got that definition, but like I said, you don't know until you flip it. And there it is, the bird effect. Again, you know, these can turn out very different with different colours. Just play around, as long as you've got that design like I showed how to draw it in, you should always get some kind of bird effect. Right guys, really happy with that. I will see you for the next one. Bye for now.